Nicole had suggested that she had said to Christopher, let's just take things slow. Let's keep our separate lives. You're just getting out of a marriage. You don't even know what it's like to be single and just worrying about yourself. Why don't we just take it slow? At some point, she admits to the interrogator that she made a mistake by getting involved with him before he was completely separated by his wife. Again, she's trying to be like the good person, whatever. Mother Teresa, Betty Crocker. She says that she encouraged him to take time to develop his own identity and embrace the beauty of being single, which I have no recollection of. I don't even remember what it was like to be single. I've been married for so long. I haven't been married that long, but it's like the thought of like the single life versus like what I have now. It's like, I can't, man. I got to get to bed. It's like 10 o'clock. I used to stay up to like 3 in the morning, and it would be like, I was just like such a night owl, but now I'm like a dad and like sleep is so precious. Like I cut that shit off like at 11. Like I can't, like my wife goes to sleep before I do, but I'm usually in bed like by midnight, and that was never a thing. I was trying to sell her on the idea of like, why do we got to get married? Marriage is just a business contract.
Okay, so we do that.
Why don't we just like be boyfriend and girlfriend forever?
Well, that worked well for you.
I know, I'm all married and stuff.
Well, that story, I was told that story, but I did come back with, well, for being, I mean, if something happens to you, I want to be able to make the decisions.
I can write a
in
will.
The hospital. If we have children, I want them to have the same last name. Just for, like, if something happens to you, for the property and all that, so that I can be secure and all that. I convinced him.
Oh, poor guy. See, attorney me is like thinking of all these responses to what you just said.
Oh, yeah, but he's not an attorney, so.
He was disarmed.
Yes.
It's like, we could stipulate to whatever you want.
I know.
Why do we got to go through the whole marriage petition? Oh. And then when I bring that up, I was like, why does all men think like that? I was like, well, because, historically, I don't want to get into that. That's a different show. Okay, so let us take a look at the timeline. August 4th of 2018. Nicole is shopping for wedding dresses online. She's pricing them. It's not just like conceptually, oh, what will my wedding dress look like? No, she's shopping them. The price information, all of this stuff. Just weeks after they started talking, so her cell phone data shows that she was looking at wedding dresses, not just like a haphazard search, for hours. She had it in her mind that Christopher Watts was a viable candidate for marriage. That's how I interpret that. August 9th, 5 days later, Shanann leaves on a business trip to Arizona. And this is the heartbreaking part of it for me, because like I read Shanann's text messages, and like, I swear to God, I want to like hug my wife. Because if my wife was ever feeling what Shanann was feeling, I would want to fix it. But that's protector man portion of me. Shanann is going through all of this, and she's like begging her best friend for advice. How do I fix this? I feel like our marriage is falling apart.
But excuse me, but also Chris was no longer in love with Shanann.
Well,
no longer loved her.
100% he wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Your feeling comes from a man who's in love with his wife. Mm-hmm. He had no feelings for her.
And that's true. That's 100% true. And he confessed to murdering his family. It led him to that. He was 100% on the outs. And when a man is out, they're out. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't speak for all men, but I can speak for me. Anytime that I've ever been out on a relationship, I was all the way out.
Right.
All the way. And I don't think that that's exclusive to men. I feel like that's with women as well. Yeah. And I don't want to even speculate about how long it takes a man to get there before it takes a woman to get there. I have no idea about. I just know that when a man is out and they are fixated on this other thing, they're going to go gravitate toward this other thing. And he had gotten to that place. with Nicole. So she's texting, she's confiding to friends about her troubles with Chris. She texts a friend that she and Chris had their best talk yet. I can't even imagine what Chris would. My functional knowledge and understanding of Chris Watts as a man is that of a bumbling idiot. But for a specific kind of man like Christopher Watts, who was like simple-minded, one-track minded, very easily manipulative, he's very naive in the way that he thinks, very juvenile in the way that he thinks, can be led by a woman such as these two, and he was. Because for whatever you think about Shanann, his type 100% was ambitious, female, leader, strong, all of those qualities. He was attracted to that in Shanann, and was attracted to that in Nicole. There was parallels in my observations of that to me between the two of them. Nicole was just the new thing. She was the shiny, bright new object. Mm-hmm. And Christopher Watts being this chubby kid from birth, that all of a sudden he's in shape and he's attracting all this attention from people who he's never had attention from before, had no idea how to deal with it. And again, I'm getting into the male aspect of it. I'm not interested in entertaining that on this show. So let me continue. So there is no logic to any of this. There's nothing that you're going to suggest is a logical ploy as to why anything that happened. If he wanted to employ logic, you would be forced to come up with a scenario that he was possessed by a demon.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's it. If he wanted to understand evil and what it looks like and what it is. Alan Watts, who is in very many ways my father, has opined of the necessity of evil, that it is only with the definition of evil that we could define good and subsequently God. Perhaps without evil you could have no good, because it all kind of just blends in together. It's like Marco Pierre White when he's cooking. He's like, you got to layer the flavors. You don't want everything to just amalgamate into just one big flavor. Everything's got to be layers. You got to be able to taste the basil and the Parmesan cheese and the egg whites and all this other stuff. Otherwise, it just becomes one big undefinitive flavor.
Yeah.
Such is the case with good and evil. You need the layers to see where everybody stands.